Let's call the meeting to order. Stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Watson?
Here.
Lynch?
Here.
Euring?
Yes.
And Kish. We're all here. We have a quorum.
Okay. Minutes of the last meeting. We have the minutes of the last meeting presented. It was out ahead of time. Do we have any corrections or deletions or any additions to those minutes?
Look good to me.
If nothing more, I make a motion to accept the minutes of the
So moved.
December 23rd
January.
meeting. Oh, January 5th meeting as presented, the organizational meeting.
So moved.
You
Yeah,
seconded?
I
Okay.
seconded, yeah.
Euring?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Lynch?
Yes.
That is 1-7, just so you know, starting off, 1-7-26.
Who made that? I did.
You did, and Jeremy seconded.
Seconded. Okay, that's where we're at right now. 226. Okay. Reading of the bills, investment options, it's financials. You have before you the financial reports and the bills to be paid. Do we have any questions on those?
Well, just Chris, were you going to give what the revenue was year to date?
Yeah, I was. I was just going to first of all say that it was, as always, the beginning of January, we have the fourth quarter of the Amherst Fire Department, which is always a big bill, and also our first payment of the OPWC loans. So that was a big chunk of the 103,199.67 on your payment listing. Let me see. As always, this is a little sad. First part of the year.
Yeah.
Year-to-date revenue is $23,203.74. And as I just said, our year-to-date expenditures is $103,199.67.
And thanks, Chris. And with
Okay.
the $20,000 there for OPWC, obviously you pointed out in the first quarter for fire service of $51,000 are also big ones, but then there's, even though it's smaller, we get it in the chunks, is the salt from Cargill, and I'm sure everyone's been watching the news about the salt shortage. And Kevin's indicated, since he's probably out on the roads now, he's not here, we're low, but we're okay. So they're still coming in, and as we're all aware, we tend to put that bid up or tag on with ODOT's bid in March or April, which we'll be doing here in March or April soon for 2027 purchases, which is always an estimate. This year, we're obviously going to use a lot more than we typically do. So that's all I have, and I don't know if there's any other comments.
I have nothing further on this. We have two bills from Ohio Edison. What are those for?
They're all different kinds of, we have 8 accounts. All the parks, the across the street, the hall, the rental.
All right. Okay, just
Street
wondered on
lights.
those. Yes. All right, nothing else? Any other questions or comments on the bills? I would entertain a motion. I would make a motion to approve the financial reports and payment of items on the payment listing as specified in documents provided by the fiscal officer.
Second.
Euring?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Lynch?
Yes.
And you also have the December 2025 credit card account transaction detail in front of you. Receipts for everything and your reasoning for purchases are all listed.
I'll make a motion to approve the credit card account transaction detail as reviewed per policy. The card statement is accepted as presented, subject to investigation.
I will second.
Lynch?
Yes.
Euring?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
Next,
The only other thing I have is 2025 is officially closed, and all state and federal reporting has been completed and filed. I've still not heard back from the state auditor's office regarding finishing our 22-23 audit or starting the 24-25 audit, so it's going to be fun.
no idea what's going on down there.
Nope, and we're not the only one.
Okay. Well, at this time, I would like to offer our welcome to whoever's in the audience. If you have something you'd like to bring before the board, now would be the time to bring it up. I think there's several people here from the Middle Ridge Road area regarding regarding a possible ditch cleaning. So,
David, if I could present it first, and then if there's, I guess the question is there anyone here for something other than for the grant application for the Quarry Creek drainage?
okay, nobody.
Okay, if not, if I can just
Yeah.
go over the information, and then if someone wishes to speak, then they can. But I gotta wait till our video people get back in there. Okay, they're ready. All right, the first item you're seeing here is the area we're talking about. We're talking about the area bounded by Rice Road to the north, Middle Ridge Road to the south, and Quarry Road to the east. This area has come up before, if you recall, back in 2011, the residents first approached the township, and we had started on a grant application at that time. And then the residents now realize some of these residents have changed over in time. We've now got new people living there. But there's still some of the residents that lived there in 2011. But they had asked us at the time to hold off on that grant application because they were going to try and resolve the issue themselves. They did do some ditch cleaning down there to get some relief. Some have also done some work themselves, whether it's drainage. Some have put fill dirt in. Some have put additional sump pumps in. But the net result, it has not resolved it. And last year, I had two different residents contact me for different reasons with a concern with their areas. And, you know, if there's anything the township can do, keep in mind, all of these residents pay into Lorraine County Stormwater District through an assessment on their property taxes. It shows up as a fee. And they have been paying that now since probably around 2003, 2004. And so those funds are collected by the Lorraine County Stormwater District and then made available to all of the townships that are part of this to apply for grant applications. And for 2026, there's approximately $400,000 available for grant applications among the 18 townships to apply for, but they have to have a viable project. Georgianne, can you bring up the photo of Bob Osborne's property? We're going to go through just some of the photos here and discuss where this is applicable. And maybe I should preface this, as we discussed with the trustees in the past, is that this is not impacting the township roads. All of this flooding and water settling and ponding is occurring on private residence areas. So the township in this case cannot contribute any funds towards any grant application. That doesn't mean a grant application can't be put forward. It's just that we can't use township funds. So I've had a meeting with the residents over there, and we did include Lorraine County Stormwater District Director Don Romankak in that to explain what the options were in addressing this. And obviously it can be attempted privately among the residents, but coordinating a group of residents to get this pulled together and also get them to work on easements individually and get those recorded at the county level on their properties. That's very difficult. The other option is going through the formal ditch petition process before the County Board of Commissioners. But that also becomes costly because not only is there an application fee, which I believe is around $1,500, is it requires multiple public hearings, it requires the county engineer to go out, do hydrologic studies of this and much more detailed, and then everyone that drains into this area would actually be assessed for that particular project. Now, that's not out of the question, that's a possibility, but realize that would encompass a much larger area, and some people might even argue, well, geez, I'm not getting flooding, even though they drain to that area, but they're at higher ground. Georgianne, can you show some of the other properties that are flooding here? And you can just scroll them. I mean, you can see the water that's settling here. This was a report we actually had a couple years ago from one of the individuals out of Lorraine County Stormwater District, who's no longer with them. They've had a replacement there. He's gone on to a different position. And this is showing one of the outlets that a resident has. You see how shallow the drainage is. Can you also bring up the photo that shows the directional arrows for, yeah, these are just some more showing coming from Rice Road. All right, let's get to the one that shows the direction of the surface water flow. Okay, here you can see the yellow is predominantly coming down from Rice Road, but you see this flow goes into multiple different directions. And this pretty much conforms with what the contours are if you look at the Lorraine County Auditor's website and put on the contour lines. You can see the overall direction of water flows. Reality is, and you see that little blue area there in the center, that is actually a low-lying area. When I say low-lying, we're not talking real deep, but what happens is that water will pond on the surface there, which means the only way to get rid of it is if it can percolate through the soils or eventually cross over the high area to the west, but actually underground. It's not going to roll over the surface. So those are the areas that tend to stay underwater for most of the year. And it makes it very difficult for people to use their properties back there. We've got one individual that's actually has a propane tank that many times he can't get it refilled. So he's reheating his home with space heaters, which is a dangerous thing to do. And if our fire prevention officer would be here, he'd be cringing right now. I know one of the property owners to the east, they don't always have settling water, but they get soggy areas where they cannot. There's actually several of them to the east. They have to avoid cutting their lawns for a while because the ground's just too saturated. And they've also been having between just regular trees and fruit trees dying off because there's just too much water there that's rotting out the roots. Georgianne, can you also now bring up the Excel spreadsheet? Okay, these are the property owners that are directly there impacted. You'll see there are 4 of them that are highlighted. The reason they're highlighted is because the county has put together, through Lorraine Soil and Water Conservation District, a proposed solution, albeit they said this might have to be a 2-stage solution, but this is the one they believe will bring immediate impact and remove that ponding water. In addition to removing that ponding water, realize those areas that are the low-lying areas, they will actually be having their land act as a sponge, pulling it away from the others that are draining into that, most of it from the west, but some of it also from the east, and a little bit of it coming from the west, since they actually are in a low-lying area. Okay, Georgianne, can you go to the preliminary plan for the solution? That's all right, I'm patient. I know you've got a lot to show up there. There you go. What this is, and if you go along the main trunk line there, Georgianne, is the proposal from the county is to put in 700 feet of 10-inch pipe And it'll actually have some drain points there with the 10 by 6 Ts all along it, so that it will capture that water. There's not a whole lot of fall here. It's only 0.4%, which really equates to 4 feet per every 1,000 feet. So across that 700 feet will be about a 3-foot fall, which really isn't that much going across there, but it will be enough to drain the water away. The volume of water that's been estimated that comes even with 10-year rains would really ask for a larger diameter pipe, but the elevations don't allow for a pipe of 12 inches to be buried deep enough. And that being the case, is the recommendation by the engineer is that we use a 10-inch pipe, and the residents just have to accept it. We'll drain it, it's just going to be slow. So there's going to be times when you get those heavy rains, you'll see the water on your yards, but it'll eventually go away. So right now it sits there all through the summer in many properties. So this is what they're recommending that we do. And then because of the contour to pick it up for those properties, they're recommending that there be a total of 780 feet of 6-inch piping that picks up some of the other areas. And those are the four that in the future will be responsible for maintaining the 6-inch lines. If this gets approved and gets constructed, the 10-inch line will be maintained by the county, and that'll be funded through the stormwater fees that are paid. So, and that'll be generally on an as-needed basis, and what you're talking about in terms of maintenance is typically going to be inspection and probably water jetting to clear out any debris that's come in there. But again, just so everyone understands, the 6-inch line will be a temporary easement to get it first constructed. The 10-inch line, if that crosses one of the residents' property that's there, that is going to be a permanent easement that'll be recorded. And at this time, I believe all the residents that are impacted there are agreeable to permanent easement. And I know the individuals that evaluate this grant, that's one of the things they're looking for, is that there is agreement from the residents that will be required to provide those easements if we want this particular project approved. Georgianne, can you get the document that shows who's actually, okay, this is the one showing those particular owners. I actually can't read it from here, but all of those listed are the ones, and I think you do have, can you bring up the table that shows, I think it's a separate document, the table that shows those that will be required to provide an easement in a table format. Nope, not that one. It's in a table. There you go. And how many are listed there? 5 of them? You scroll down a bit. Okay, it looks like 5 properties, because these are large lots, so they've got large frontage. So across that full 700 feet, we're only talking about 5 that would be required to provide a permanent easement. The county may be coming to the others with the 6-inch line and also having a separate form just for the temporary easement, but that would just be used during construction, then that easement goes away. Let me catch up here, Georgianne.
Now, the main line's supposed to be 10 inches, correct, Neil?
Correct, it's 10 inches.
And the laterals are 6 inches.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm reading this correctly.
Yes.
This is going to outlet in that main line that runs across Middle Ridge and back of the homes on Middle Ridge, and then outlets into Brownhelm Township, correct?
Correct.
All right. Where is that outlet on this?
Okay.
That lower, okay.
Yeah, Georgianne, can you
Lower
follow
left-hand
the
corner?
10-inch line starting from the east? Put your pointer on that. Start from the west, or the east, with the 10-inch line. I'm looking for the pointer, move it a little bit.
21,
Okay, you've got it, it's just small. Okay, now keep following the 10-inch line down. David, you'll want to watch this, you'll see where it goes. Keep going. And right at that junction, you see where it turns to the southwest a little bit, follow that down, and that's where it'll empty into the ditch, David. So right now, it's my understanding there is an underground pipe that cuts across the agricultural field there. By going in this direction, that is completely avoided, but it still outfalls to the Quarry Creek ditch. Do you have another question then?
No, just for clarification on the map.
Okay, so this total project estimate is $49,000. Since we know that in the grant evaluation process is they're always looking for a percentage match of that. And since the township can't match, the way the application is written, that $8,200 would come from the residents. And that's the toughest thing, since it's not an assessed project. This has to be a voluntary basis from the residents. Now, there are many residents that are going to benefit from this, but you know, when you get into talking money like that and people pulling money out of their pocket, that's when the difficult conversation happens. I have not had discussion with every resident there, but talked with some of them, and I've even asked some if they can talk with their neighbors to come up with that match. The match isn't going to be required until we prefer to have it when we go out for bid, and the township will actually have to do the bid project as the agents of the county. But the reality is it will definitely be needed before any bid is awarded to a contractor. So you've got time, but we'd like to come up with that $8,200, which then will be leveraging almost $41,000 from the county stormwater funds to pay for this. And again, when I say those funds, realize everybody pays into that fund. We all see it when we get our property tax bill. If you look at the detail, if you actually pay it directly versus paying it as part of your mortgage. If you're interested in seeing the amount, I suggest you go to the auditor's website, and it will show you exactly what you're paying as a property owner for stormwater going to the county. So I don't know if the trustees have any questions on this.
So of that 8,200, how many homeowners are you trying to approach with that?
Well, it'd be nice if all 15 listed, but there's more than those 15 draining into it, Jeremy. It's just the farther you go away, you know, the less likely someone will do this. I mean, the township has tried before in the past to try and get through the old petition process, and I can tell you there's always somebody that's going to say no. But realize when you go through the petition process, you need 100% of those along the ditch to agree to an easement, and then everybody that drains into it. So, you know, you could be a mile away from it. Guess what? You're being assessed if you drain into it. And those people then go before the county. So right now, I'm not going to every one of the 15. You're going to get the argument, geez, I can cut my grass fine, or all the bad water's in my rear yard. I don't use it anyway. I've got my 3 or 5 acres over there, so I don't want to pay. Well, that's the fight that's going to happen. And I'm going to leave that up to the residents as what they want to do. You know, I'm not going to be going out there beating on doors, because the only way, if you wanted to force this project, is the petition process. And I just know that's also a long, drawn-out process to get done. So in this case, the township would be acting on the benefit of our residents to get a project, to leverage the funds that they pay to the county anyway, to now actually get some benefit from that for their particular property. So we're going to improve the safety, we're going to improve the health, we're going to improve their welfare. You can say, well, how is that? It's easy, safety. You've got people out there right now that can't get propane to their tank. That's not appropriate, you know, and you can't, what are you going to do, move the tank up in the front yard or put it by the road? You don't want to do that either. As far as health, every one of them is on an on-lot wastewater treatment system. Health department will tell you those saturated soils, they aren't working. All we're doing is taking all that effluent and sending it through the groundwater, which isn't a good thing. And we are required as a township that's under EPA requirements for compliance with the small municipal storm systems that we have to improve the quality of the water and recognize when we have these types of discharges occurring. In terms of welfare, well, that's easy. We've got people losing trees, we've got people that have put in additional sumps, we've got people that have already spent thousands of dollars putting in French drains and, dry wells, hoping they can get it, but they still can't get it to the ditch, and it's still not working. And then the fact you can't use your property. And as individuals, there's nothing they can do to solve the problem. It's got to be an area-wide project. So that's why that we're putting together this grant, which I hope you and David support. Still no guarantee we get it. We need, and I don't know how many other people are going to apply, because at roughly $41,000, we're asking for 10% of the available $400,000 that's out there, and there's 18 townships that can apply for that. So I don't know what projects they're going to have, but I know Elyria Township had a project approved, I think it was last year, that I believe was almost $200,000. So you get a couple of those in, and it gets approved, that cuts down the available funds.
So, my
All
other
right.
question to you, and this is off topic, but this is what actually got me into the township in the first place, when we had a similar issue with my neighbors. And there were 7 or 8 of us, it turns into a river, it floods out the driveways, there's access issues. Came to the township, went to the county, back to the township, and was basically told, there's nothing we can do because it does not impact the road. And it just seems like this is a very similar project.
Now, if it does, and I think, didn't you have the tile replaced there for one of the property owners?
That's what, yeah, several houses down did end up with this.
Right, and the township helped with that?
I don't believe so. I think he paid all out of pocket.
Okay, I thought the township, I wish Kevin were here, went down to explain what had to be done. But as far as the rest, that being the county, if it could have been a larger area, I assume the county said they couldn't do it at all?
Yeah, they basically told me to quit calling them, that they weren't going to.
That was the county engineer? Yeah, I don't know why they would have said that. That's up to them. If there was something that actually could have been done as a project, again, there's no guarantee it gets
Right.
approved. Something could be put together for an outlet. If I recall, didn't that have the water coming from the east side coming across Pile South Amherst and dumping over?
Yeah.
Yeah. And there was one, I know the one drive that was plugged, and that's the one that got replaced. I don't know if that's finally been resolved or not. Well, if there's another one, it might be worth looking at again.
Yeah. When do we apply for these?
They're due at the end of January.
Okay.
So you got to start
Yeah, maybe
well
next
before
year then.
that, So you'd be starting now for the next year and hoping
Okay.
you can even get that pulled together. Yeah, they're always due in January.
You have anything else? Like to add any on that, Neil?
Well, I guess, I don't know if any of the residents want to speak or not, David. You would ask that before I asked to present this first, so if you want to ask
Do we have
now.
any comments? Yes, please. Would you step to the podium and just state your name and...
Do I have to turn that on or anything? No. Yay. My name is Celeste McKissick. We're at 48268 Middle Ridge Road. We've been residents out there for 25 years. The flooding initially, the water would drain off at a certain point. It's gotten to the point now where the flooding in the yard, particularly Mr. Osborne's yard, which is our next door neighbor, it stays year round. It doesn't get any better. We have geese nesting there. We have a mosquito problem in the summer. And as a nurse, I can tell you, it is a health concern. We cannot use our property, and we can't sell our properties either. Nobody's going to buy with that mess we have out there. We did try to do something a number of years ago, and that was, as Neil referred to, the fact that all these people would have to sign off on it. When that ditch was cleaned, it really had very little impact on our yards. The people that appreciated it, and it was a wonderful gesture, but it did almost nothing for us because the water can't get to the ditch. That's the whole issue. We dealt with stormwaters in '21, I believe, and they told us that they thought they could help us. They thought we had a real good issue. And then they pretty much dropped the ball. Mr. Lynch has helped us facilitate this proposal, and the best part about it is the residents are going to pick up that 8,200. They're all in agreement. They've met in my house 2 to 3 times, and it's not going to cost the township any money. Frankly, we're at an impasse. We have to get this dried up. We're getting older. We're considering selling our properties. Our property values have gone high, just like everybody else's. And this really will have no impact on anybody else except us and Rice Road. And frankly, I think we are just at a point where this absolutely needs to be finished and done. Thank you.
Do we have any other comments on that? Well, Neil, okay, we've discussed this, and this has been going on, as you said, for years, on and off. Complaints and working with the county, whatnot, and working with stormwater. We applied for the money. We still have to get the money, but we won't get any money if we don't try. So, I would say, let's apply for this, let's see if we get it, and as long as the neighbors amongst themselves can come up with the match agreeably, it could be a win-win-win for everybody. Drainage, when it works, is really good. If it doesn't work, you got a mess. I think you guys can attest to that. So, this could correct a problem, but you got to work together. Seems like you want to work together, which is really good. This way you'll solve the problem. As far as I'm concerned, Neil, if you want to make the motion to apply for the funding for the Quarry Creek drainage area, I'll second that.
Okay, thanks, Dave. Well, then I'll make a motion that is the authorization of an application for financial assistance from the Lorraine County Stormwater District for the 2026 Quarry Creek Area Drainage Project.
And I will second that. We've got a motion made on the floor. And
So, one point of reference, so for the rear farmland here, can you confirm that that is not affected, there's nothing crossing over there, there's no easements of any kind?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, there's none. That was changed here.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's where the little section that, we pointed to earlier coming down.
Okay.
It's actually, not sure what page that's on. On page 7, you can probably see it easier. And it's this piece right here.
Okay.
And as you're aware, the ditch, which comes down from this side around the turnpike and Middle Ridge and then cycles back around and right through this tree line.
Okay.
Okay, motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Lynch?
Yes.
Euring?
Yes.
Watson?
Yes.
And the number on that, Chris?
Is 11026.
And Chris, if I could have a certified copy at the end of the day.
Okay, there. Next item on the agenda.
If you want to let people know, David, they can stay if they want, but if they want to leave, they can too.
Okay, we're going to continue on with our regular meeting. You have a question? Yes.
Because as previously stated, normally stormwater funds are used for water runoff. This means anyone who is in Amherst Township who is having flooding problems in their backyard can approach the township and you will help them with those. Correct? I just want to make sure that I understand how the project's being awarded and, because I know of other people, in the township who feel like they've been turned away when they went for help. So is this setting kind of a precedent that now people who are having these types of troubles with flooding can approach the township and you will help them? Who put together the presentation? I'm curious.
Yeah, I did.
You did? So you would be willing to do that for other residents?
Anyone that approaches the township,
Okay.
I will do the best to help and always have. Now, there will come times when...
Well, I want to make sure that they're not going to be told, well, those funds are used for water that runs off the road, not backyards.
I was just going to add to that before you
Thank you.
interrupted that. In particular instances, such as the rear yard drains that people have, that those get clogged up, we routinely let them know that's a private issue that they need to take care of. Now, where we have interceded, not that we could get it done unless we had the cooperation, was if the blockage was on the adjoining property owner's issue. We said, you need to work that out with that property owner. If they don't, then it becomes a civil matter. So like, for instance, on this one, I mentioned those with the 6-inch extension there with the yard drains, that they will have to provide a temporary easement to have that installation put in. But in the future, they are completely responsible for that. So no township is not going to get involved in that other than say, well, we'll just let them know, just like a rear yard drain, that's your responsibility. You go hire a contractor or plumber to either jet it out or get it replaced. But we'll do it this one time for this overall project, because affecting this whole area to get each individual to do it, that's very difficult.
Mm-hmm. So if a tile becomes cracked, then it's their responsibility to fix
The
it.
6-inch will be theirs. If it's the 10-inch, the county would take care of that. So just on the 10-inch, but what they're going to give up is there's going to be a permanent easement along that 10-inch line. So they'll have to provide access, and I'm leaving up to the county as far as what point they come in, if they can come in through the power lines, or if they have to get an easement on each driveway to get access to get in there, so that then they can get to the easement along the 10-inch line. But there will be a permanent easement recorded.
So if the
That can be-
10-inch tiles crack, then the county will be responsible for
Yeah, the county
fixing those
stormwater
tiles
district
and
would
for the
take care
cost of it. But the 6-inch ones crack, then the
That's the
individuals are.
individual property owner.
Okay. All right, thank you.
But I think, too, Terry, if the money is available, we'll try to get it, case by case, project by project, and helpful if there's many properties involved rather than just one, and that shows a need. It's helping, multiple people, things like that. But if the money is available, we can find a reasonable way to get it. We'll try. We're not against that. Okay, next item on the agenda, correspondence and announcements. Correspondence. Do you have anything under correspondence, Jeremy?
I do not.
Neil, do you have anything to bring up?
I do, but I'll hand them later, David. One will be that I did forward to you and Jeremy, and Chris was from NOPEC, and the other would be from ODOT's LTAP. I was hoping that Kevin and Linda would be here, but I think where the mix-up is this being our second meeting, and Kevin's out on the road, he would normally be here. Linda only comes to the first meeting. In my mind, this is the first meeting, but it's just because of the way we change things. So I'll cover those if Kevin doesn't show up, I'll cover the one at Rhodes, and I'll cover the other one when we get to NOPEC on the agenda.
Okay, I have two items to bring forward. One, December 10th, a reminder from Mike Duran, the Lorraine County Recorder. that pursuant to the revised code 317.081, requires that zoning resolutions and zoning maps, all amendments thereto be filed with the Office of the County Recorder. I just wanted to make sure that we're aware of it. Well, we are aware of it, but make sure that we follow up on this. We had changes last year to the book and whatnot. That those changes, the new book, new map, etc., are recorded. So.
The interesting thing in here is he didn't mention the fee we got to pay each one we bring in. So just more for Jeremy to help here. What we do is we collect these, and we'll get several amendments. We turn them in at once. We don't do each one coming up through the year, because then we're paying the fee each time that change comes in versus sending it to them one time. Okay. That was when the state, let's see, I think Governor Kasich was in at the time, and they were under fiscal difficulties, so they, took money from others because they could. So local government fund went down, and they added fees wherever fees could be added. And this was one of the fees that got added.
Well, second item I have is I have an email from Lorraine County Farm Bureau, just bring this up, that on Saturday, February 14th, 2026, it'll be the annual Lorraine County Farm Bureau Brunch with a Farmer. And all details attached. They're asking that you call. Says, hello elected officials. As an elected official or person who normally is involved with the Lorraine County Farm Bureau, we would like to extend an invitation to you to attend the Lorraine County Farm Bureau 12th Annual Brunch with a Farmer on Saturday, February 14th, 2026. The flyer with all details is attached. In order to provide an opportunity to interact with many of our attendees, would you be willing to help serve the brunch? We anticipate having 200 plus attendees at this event. Something newer in the past few years, we are asking that our servers be current paid Farm Bureau members. The reason we are asking is to show membership value to all attendees. Please call the office or reply to this email if you are interested in helping. So, thank you very much. Sincerely, Elaine Beekman, Brian Dorr, Jessica Dorr, Brennan Finnegan, Kyle Osborne, Amy Zamanian, Anthony Savage, Brunch with a Farmer Committee. Okay, that's Lorraine County Farm Bureau. So if anybody's interested, that's the 14th is Valentine's Day, 14th of February.
So you're taking Marie?
I don't know. Do that. But anyway, those are the two items, just recording the zoning and that brunch with a farmer. Anything else? Nothing else? Then we'll move to the next item on the agenda. The next item on the agenda are reports. Ambulance service. Do we have anything under ambulance service? No one here. If you have anything to add?
No, it's just having Brandon schedule the next meeting, David. But I did send the notes I took at our last ambulance board meeting and presented here. I forwarded those to him so that it'd help with the minutes.
We have no one from the Sheriff's Department here. Zoning Inspector, Ryan.
Yeah, there's a final site plan review for M&K Trucking. That is February 3rd. And then January's been a busy month for permits. We're at a total of 19 right now. We've collected $30,146.96 and $4,500 for the park fee. And I still have quite a few permits on my desk. So moving right along with the permits, that's all I have.
Okay. Do we have anything on the Zoning Commission or anything on the Zoning Board of Appeals to bring forward? I have nothing on that. The Zoning Commission will be meeting on the first Tuesday of the month at 6:30 p.m. Zoning Board of Appeals will be meeting as needed. Next item.
Yeah, David, before you leave zoning, I wasn't sure if Ryan, I believe it's this Thursday this week, Lynn Ickus had requested zoning inspectors and township zoning personnel, possibly road personnel, to show up. She must have some presentation on including stormwater in our zoning. I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, I RSVP'd for that, so
Okay,
that
good.
is Thursday.
I
6
won't be able to
8.
make that, just so you're aware, because I know she gave the option, if we can, she could deal with us later. I did forward it to Lonnie. I don't know if Lonnie's and the
Yeah, I
rest
didn't
of the
hear
zoning
anything from
committee.
them.
Well, hopefully they show up, but we'll definitely be asking you. I'll send something to Lynn too. I'm gonna ask that she video it, so those of us that can't attend can see it later, but I've
Yeah.
already committed that night.
Yep. I'll let you know if I
Great.
hear anything good.
Yeah, and you know the section we've got in there talking about providing the stormwater calculations for, you know, the site plans and whatnot. I don't know if that's what she's asking to add. I have no idea.
Yeah, the announcement was kind of vague, so.
Yeah, well,
See.
and you're aware the townships, the 18 townships, their zoning's all over the place. It might be more directed to the rural townships that may not have, you know, as detailed the zoning. But I don't, again, I'm guessing there.
Right.
Okay, good. I'm glad you're gonna make it.
I have one question, Ryan. What is the site plan review? What's the final?
For M&K Trucking,
Craig Cake. And that was February 2nd?
February 3rd.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
next
you.
item. Fire Prevention Officer, I don't see Chris Nyhart here. Road Superintendent, Kevin Smarsh, he's out on the roads.
Yeah, I did, if we can, because we could cover it here or under stormwater, David. So I sent this out earlier, but, oh, she's got it up there already. And this is really, Chris, just for our notes, since again, we're required as part of that EPA stormwater edict to provide public education, public involvement. And I think I sent this to you. I did send it to you too, Chris,
Yep.
to help with your minutes. But, you know, here it was just LTAP sending out the reminder to clear our catch basins and storm drains, knowing that the storm melt's going to happen and cause flooding. And Kevin and Russ already know that. They watch the weather, and I'm sure people that have those catch basins more in the subdivisions will see them out there picking up debris or cleaning out the catch basin prior to the storm event hitting. They will try and get the roads cleared so that drainage can occur. But the residents can help also. You know, it's when we have people that are getting their driveways plowed, please don't plow it over the top of the drains, which we know happens. Don't park your cars over there. Preferably, as we had the no parking ban here during the storm event, it's best get your cars off the road completely. Then it's easier to clear the main cover off with the plows at this time. But Russ and Kevin will be inspecting those. You know, but that's the main thing, David, here to have this. Again, this is because we're required to provide public education involvement on stormwater, and I know that's pretty simple and common sense.
But it's still educational. So some people won't think of it. Okay. Park and Cemetery, generally Smarsh, and to a lesser extent Linda handle that. Neither one is here. Senior Services, Township Administrator, that's Linda Ashley, and she is, that's usually the first Tuesday of the month. She's not at this meeting, so there won't be anything further on that. Lorco.
Yeah, and David, this is the one, unfortunately, I can't give you the report on Lorco because if you recall, I was sick and I think I made it into the trustee meeting and wouldn't shake anybody's hand and kept my distance then, but I did call Gene Toy to let him know that I couldn't make it at that meeting. I am aware that the performance appraisal and the adjustments and compensation were handled on that meeting for the director, but I can't tell you what the specific changes were since I didn't see those. And then I also know that the county has asked Lorco to support a project for a grant application. It was a RED grant, I believe they call it, an REDD, something about some sort of economic development. But essentially what the county's trying to do is get a sanitary sewer in an agreement with North Ridgeville and use of French Creek. The reason they wanted Lorco support is because they also are 6119 operating sanitary sewer that predominantly serves Grafton Township, Eaton Township, and Carlisle Township. Lorco did ask for an adjustment. They agreed to send in a letter of support, but it was not at the verbiage that the county wanted, because it appeared the county was hoping that Lorca would redirect the flow of a portion of their customers to French Creek to help with the funding. Now, obviously it would help because those Lorco customers would also, based on preliminary estimates, get a lower rate. But Lorco has a agreement with Avon Lake Regional Water in terms of the amount of their flow, and we thought that the original request from the county would be contradictory to that agreement. And so Lorco adjusted the letter of support, and they also requested that the county have discussions directly with Avon Lake Regional Water so that they're aware of this, so it's not a surprise as to what's going on. Beyond that, since I wasn't at the meeting and haven't seen even a draft minutes yet, I can't tell you in terms of what other development projects are going on out there and number of homes that would be involved. So that's the end of my report, even though I wasn't at the meeting, but it was all emails they sent to me later after that.
Okay. Well, phase two, and
We kind of covered that earlier.
I believe that you did. And let's look. Complaint and corrective action. Anything, update on these complaints? Anything to add on that? Okay. I have nothing further on those. Any unfinished business? I have nothing to add at this time. The consortium meeting under solid waste, the consortium meeting was canceled due to lack of a quorum. There was some miscommunication on that, breakdown in communication, and I think we agreed that to have the quorum should be set by the day before, so that if there's not a quorum, there's time to let everyone know that there's not going to be a meeting.
I think because 4 people showed up that missed the email that.
Yeah, well, the email came in later in the day, and if you didn't look at your email before you left, you could very easily have missed it. So, and for the sake of the order, is there anything else on the agenda that, any of the topics that any of you would like to add, have anything to add on?
I do have for NOPEC.
Okay.
Georgianne, can you
What do
bring
we
up
have
the
under
NOPEC
NOPEC?
document? And this just, by the way, NOPEC just sent an email correspondence today, which I forwarded on to you guys. Because, again, the way their email is, I don't know who receives it and who doesn't. So I sent it to everyone here and to Linda. But since then, I had asked for what the balances were that were available in terms of the grants that we've already applied for. The email just indicated that for 2026, we would receive an award of $11,947, and that will be available after we complete the 2026 profile, and that's approved by NOPEC. And those grant funds must be used by November 30th of 2028. To actually complete the profile, we need to pass a resolution. And I had let Linda know I would work real hard to get it done before the meeting, if necessary. And unfortunately, since she tried to get on NOPEC's website to answer my other question as to what the balance was of the 2024 funds, well, NOPEC's website was down. So she did send an email, but the email came in after she left. I had forgotten this is the second meeting of the month and she wouldn't be here. I was hoping she'd be here to report on this. But essentially, if you recall, last year, we did get the approval for two items that they would be funded. One was to get a good amount of road equipment that was the rechargeable battery operated, and Kevin and Russ ended up getting between the various pole saws and regular saws and impact wrenches and whatnot to make their job easier. That total cost was $3,261. So that used up the balance of the funds that had to be expended by November 30th of 2025. We also knew that the copier, scanner, printer we had, we were informed that they would no longer maintain updates on that, service that, since it was so old. So we knew we were eventually going to have to get a new one, and Brian, you're aware of how touchy that was. So we did apply for a new one, and we made sure that it would have the Energy Star rating, and we were told, yes, that would be approved. I don't have the final details of what that cost was, but I know that was presented to the trustees in the past, in addition to maintenance contract, and Linda will be turning in the grant disbursement for that. That will probably use up a good portion of the funds that have to be expended by November of this year. With that, though, you can see we'll have about $24,000 still available. I'm going to look to everyone here, the elected officials and the township employees, to start coming up with ideas of what's the best use of those funds. And so the reason I wanted this here, and I will leave paper copies with you too. I think, sure if I emailed this to you, probably not, because I was just working on this within a couple hours before the meeting. So I'll leave you paper copies, but I'll try and email it over. Here's a list of ideas that I put down in the past with when Denny was a trustee, and David and Chris, and just saying, hey guys, what do you come up with? And like one is first doing a facility audit, see where we're losing, what our conditioned air, whether it be air conditioning or heating, and is there any improvements there that need to be done. We talked about whether we put, similar to we have an entryway here with the double doors, do we do something on the other area? And if we were going to do that, can we also expand it where there's usable space that's there? Not sure what the cost would be. That's something you'd have to get. For Kevin, it might be the garage door air curtains, since they've got to, open those doors on and off, which, you're just sending everything. There's no air conditioning there, but you definitely are sending heat, right out as they're in and out. I'm not sure if our generator, we have a service contract and testing that's done on that. Not sure if it's eligible. We have to find out. I know when we put the generator in, it was eligible, and particularly since that is a dual source generator, so even if we run out of natural gas, which is the typical operation, is we have it connected where we can change some valving and use propane if absolutely necessary to keep the lights on and heat and water and everything else running here in the township. Perhaps we can change things with, so I know that water heater just went bad this past year. Wish we would have gotten it before that, but whether replacing with higher efficiency water heaters, or even getting the localized heat where they, right at the device that's used versus running through a whole plumbing system from the water heater. Whether we try and do separate zoning within the township, and that may involve putting in the automated damper controls, which are motorized, again, can be very expensive, which we don't have now. Finishing up where we have do not have LED lighting, is perhaps adding that. We may want to consider whether we put electrification at the park pavilions. There can be pros and cons to doing that, but we do not allow people to have within the pavilions open flame grills and whatnot, but perhaps I know in other parks where they will allow you to have electrical type heating and usage for the parks. Maybe just other device we have here, whether it's the air conditioning and furnace and whatnot, because we know eventually the furnace will have to be replaced. Will that be eligible? Number 10, forget that, because we already did that between weed whippers and chainsaws, drills, and impact wrenches. We spent that last year. But number 11, other ideas, that's why I'm just looking for everyone else. Come up with ideas. Let's get them on the list so that they're not forgotten, is what's here. So I'll run copies of this before we leave, and hopefully Linda will get it updated as this comes in. But just so we're aware, this funding comes from those that sign up for NOPEC gas and electric usage. And it's paid out based on the number of customers. Seeing that it dropped from 2025 to 2026, that just means people left NOPEC and chose an alternate supplier. And I'm sure we've all received the calls, like, I can give you a $100 credit card if you switch.
So it's cheaper.
So-
Other places.
Yeah, it can be cheaper if people watch it though, because what they
Gotta
do is
watch
they
it.
tend the old boil a frog. If you're not watching it, know when it sunsets,
I
they
watch it.
then jack up the rate on you, and you all of a sudden, holy smokes, and well, sorry, you're locked in for the next year. Or you gotta pay a fee.
As does-
Yeah, so you just, but if you can play the game.
They play the game too, so.
Yeah, if you can play the game and you're willing to keep tabs on it, that's okay, but don't miss that date. So if you happen to be sick that week, too bad, you know?
Can you send that
That's
in
just
an
as bad.
email?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's-
So
that's probably
there's
best.
$24,000 that we need to use by November of this year.
November this year is 11,358.
Okay.
I'm looking at the next 2 years.
Next 2 years. Okay.
Yeah, so by 2028. And this one is only, we'll have a resolution at the next meeting. And then Linda will update the profile, which she can't do till we have that resolution, because that has to be uploaded to their site.
They probably have some kind of list too of what all qualifies for them.
Yeah.
They have some, and it'll be that email I did forward to you. I believe I did, I'll check my phone in a minute. They give some recommendations. So things like people are using like added insulation. A lot of the cities like to use the LED stop signs to put up. They like traffic lights, converting them, you know, we're not into that. It depends if the city owns the electrical system, let's say like Amherst, they can convert their lights for us. I already went through this with First Energy for the lights that we as a township pay for. You know, David just asked Chris about how many different Ohio Edison accounts you have now, but one of them is for the street lighting. Well, guess what? That is an agreement they have throughout their service area. And even if we've changed everything to LED lighting to reduce the cost, we don't save a dime.
In fact, I think
And
it
I
costs
told
more.
them, they wanted, I said, Nick, this doesn't make any sense. You guys got us coming and going. And it's like, well, that's what's negotiated, you know, above our level at the state. It's like you're stuck with it. And so I said, well, we're not going to improve the energy efficiency if it's going to cost us more money. That just doesn't make any sense. Now, what I can tell you, what the township did agree to pay for, and this was the reason, is the county engineer, when they were resurfacing Middle Ridge Road, is they requested, because this helped them in getting matching grant funds, these are federal funds, is they needed to also improve safety. They changed LED lights. The county agreed to pay for all the changeover, the installation, which was the big dollar bill. But then we have to pay extra every single year for that safety improvement. But we weren't going to say no. It was a small amount. It was only 5 lights, I think it was, David, that we had to put in because they're just at the intersections. But we have to pay each year, pay more to improve the safety. But the thing was, the county was getting this huge amount of federal funds coming in. We weren't going to turn that away because our residents use that. So we had to sign off on that because we pay for the energy that's consumed by those lights, but albeit at a much lower negotiated rate at the state level. Okay. But I'll get this forwarded to you. Just realize Linda will probably be sending it in the future with the updates, because I think I put in what I could. This one will probably drop off, but it was just showing what we've used. Okay?
Okay. I'll play with some ideas in the works.
Great, yep.
Well, all right. Anything else to come before the board? There's nothing else to come before the board. Is there any reason for an executive session? There's no reason for an executive session. Then our next regular meeting will be 7 PM, Tuesday, February 10th, 2026, here at the Township Hall. If there's nothing else to come before the board, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Watson,
Yes.
Lynch,
Yes.
Euring.
Maybe. Yes.